Come join us.
Come join
Come, my
us.
friends.
Come hither. So that part is recording already, the Twitch. Let me sign myself on.
Okay.
Tweet a tweet.
Let me go in there too and...
Maybe that was the wrong thing. Did you do what you were supposed to do, Ricky, on
Yes,
Friday
I did.
as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Man, I don't see you guys on Twitch. Why is that not coming on?
Sometimes I see us.
Okay.
Sometimes you just gotta refresh.
Okay.
Let me see if I can see us.
Okay, there you guys are. Okay, I see.
I like this.
Okay, you guys are there. Ooh, Dawn does not have her glasses. She will not be doing much chatting.
Where's... Now I need to get my...
And don't forget to host.
Okay, I'm gonna stop talking. I'm getting ready to start recording. Are you guys ready?
I'm ready. You
Yes.
ready?
Wait, I gotta turn this off. Oh, the air.
You got it.
I feel like you wouldn't really hear the air.
I don't think
I
you
don't think
would,
so either, but we're
it's
good,
Okay.
we're good.
Thank you, Dawn.
Oh well.
We
I was just
appreciate you.
I was just doing what I was told.
No, yeah, I like that. I like that. You know, we get all flustered.
All right, here we go, ladies.
Just one of those shoulder songs. Did you see the shoulder thing? Oh.
Hey, y'all. Happy day.
Yes. Happy
Thank-
day indeed.
Yeah, thank you for tuning in today on this frequency. I want to say, like, we're back. I'm kind of living through Ricky right now, like if I was on vacation. But
It was not
wasn't
a vacation.
Okay.
That
She
was like
didn't
a
have
day
a
off.
vacation. She had a day off, and I missed you. You weren't texting me or calling me. I was like,
I wasn't texting or calling anybody.
I'm
was
so glad that
pissed.
you said that because I didn't get any text either, and I was gonna have my feelings hurt if you were getting text.
yeah, right? Like, it was weird. I was like, okay, it's cool. Like, she's taking a day off. We've been talking about this. She needs to get away. She needs to disconnect. Like, you literally disconnected. And I was like, okay, it's Monday now. Can you text me? And you didn't text me. I was like, hello, where's my text? Where are you?
So two things. First of all, my phone was tripping out there. Like something is definitely wrong with my phone. I might need it. I've dropped it one too many times.
Oh, no.
Couldn't even connect to the Wi-Fi. And you know Wi-Fi is survival over there.
Yeah.
And it just, my phone was not cooperating. But I wasn't trying to make it cooperate either because I was really just trying to like disconnect completely.
Yeah.
And just be present where I was, which worked great. But then like, oh shoot, I have 24 text messages
Right.
that I need to attend to.
20 of those were for me. Just kidding. It was probably just the 4. But
yeah, no, it was necessary.
I'm glad.
And I wish I could have stayed a little bit longer.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to be more sad coming back. Like,
Yeah.
I'm going back.
Mm-hmm.
But I was actually really happy to be back. Like, I was excited to be back here in this space. And so it was good, to my surprise.
I like it. And I think that's going to be a little bit of the topic that we're going to get into today is how you definitely need, and we've talked about it in prior episodes, we need to disconnect in order to feel rejuvenated and feel like we have a purpose again and just come back fresh with ideas and inspiration and motivation to get back into what we're doing. We talk about that too at just at work where we're like, we come in and day out and it's the same thing. And sometimes you just need a little spontaneity and
The rat race.
go outside into, go see the sun on your lunch break. Today there was just like a little, what is it called? A little
Patio?
kind of like a patio, but no, where the flowers
Courtyard?
are. Yeah, okay, we'll call it a courtyard. And there was caterpillars on the flowers.
Really?
It's on my Insta stories. And it was beautiful. And I was like, oh, it made my day. And
You took the time to look at them.
Yeah. We don't notice those kinds of things.
We don't. I took my yoga mat,
Oh, nice.
laid out on the wood floor, like, just listen to the birds and then the dog. So it's so funny because the animals are, I have Sophia here. So when I lay out, Sophia does yoga with me. Like she just lays out with me.
Yeah.
I remember going to my cousin Noel's house and she has a husky and I laid out on her floor also.
Yeah.
Which a friend of mine was like, you're grounding yourself. Like that's what that is.
Mm-hmm.
The dog comes over, my cousin Noel's dog, and she's like, all over me, but then lays down. And Noel's like, no, no, no. And I'm like, no,
It's fine.
just let this happen.
Yeah.
And my dad's dog did the same thing.
Yeah,
He was
they
just
know.
like,
Ah,
yeah. I was
Let
like,
me
"Oh,
let me go to you and help you and
just give it to me.
help
all."
you heal.
Yeah. Came back smelling like dog.
Well, that's, I guess things could be worse, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, I guess to get into it, a couple of weeks ago, you came at me hot with this book that you were reading, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Excellent book.
And you were talking about like this was just a game changer for you. And so I immediately got it on my audiobooks, started listening to it, and the first 30 minutes I was like, oh my God,
Yeah.
why haven't I read this? And then we started going back and forth
Right.
texting about like how relatable it is. And
Right.
so here we are. I think we're going to make this a 2-part episode.
Down.
Because there's just so much good information in this book. Everyone should definitely read it. I discovered actually today, after purchasing it, which, you got to support. But if you can't afford it, it is actually on Spotify for free.
You're kidding me.
Yeah.
What?
I don't know why I even searched it, but I searched it in my Spotify and it's there for free. So that's the plug, y'all. Get in
That's
there.
not a new book.
No, it's not. It's been 1989 is what I
I
heard.
thought it was even older than that. Interesting. Yeah, it's nothing new. And you would think, like, we read a lot of books of that nature.
Like
that-
self-development and personal
And you would
growth.
think you've read them all.
Right,
Because they all kind of say the same thing, just a little bit differently.
right.
And sometimes you just get bits and pieces of it that you just needed to hear in that particular time. Be like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, this makes sense.
Yeah,
Or reminds you of something that you had already previously read from another author that you have to connect back with that.
right. And it's always, it always comes back to you in a different way where, like you said, you're inspired by it and you were blown away by the words when you need them.
Yeah.
So in in this episode, we'll talk about that first section of the book where it talks about the 9, is it 9? The 9 most common human challenges that we go through. And I guess when I was reading it and when I was reflecting, I believe that we'll always go through these things and they'll come in waves.
Right.
It's just being aware of it and knowing like, okay,
How you're going to take this wave on.
right. And how am I going to shift my paradigm?
Right.
Paradigm
Right,
shifting. And I feel like just having conversations between you and I feel like we're always shifting some shit.
And shifting paradigms doesn't have to be overwhelming or big. It's literally a mindset that you can switch
Yeah.
at any given moment.
Yeah.
Sometimes unexpectedly, but it is sometimes that easy if we allow ourselves.
Yeah. It can be as little as like, just be quiet for a second. Oh, look at that. You hear that?
Yeah.
The birds are singing.
Listen to the birds.
And that's a whole thing.
It is a whole thing. But it is that simple. And shouts out to Ray because I got to that book because Ray sent me some footage of Nipsey Hussle talking about how he managed being overwhelmed and how feeling overwhelmed was a reminder to him that he was demanding more of himself. So in that clip, the person interviewing Nip referenced that book.
Oh.
So I'm like, you know what? I need to go and read this
Let me
book.
see.
And that's how I got there. So shouts out to Ray because he's always kind of looking
Dang.
out for those
Little
that
cues, huh?
content that helps us all get to the next level. Oh, show.
Ray, our photographer. I love it. I love it. So one of the first human challenges that the book talks about is fear and insecurity. And I feel that for me personally, I come at things now, I'm a little more hesitant, and I think that has a lot to do with COVID and the way that we just navigate in our day-to-day lives. But just in general, maybe a couple years, maybe even within the last 2 years, I was more like, well, fuck it, whatever. Let's just try this, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But before, I was very hesitant, and all of my plans or everything that I wanted to do had to be planned, and there was a tactic, and maybe things should work out that way, but we shouldn't be so careful and so precise. Like, just get in there and do it, and let's just see what happens. What do you think?
So you were always that person who had to have it planned on the calendar.
Yes,
make
and
sure
I still am,
you
right?
still are. I know.
Yeah, I still am. But, and you know how I'm saying about these things come in waves where sometimes it'll be, oh, you know what? I'm just going to write my whole life out and then I'm going to do it all according to this whole plan. But a lot of the times I'm finding that just go with it. Just do.
So the reason you would put together these plans is that was like your safety blanket to life. Like, okay,
absolutely.
if I plan this all out, if I do this accordingly, then I don't have anything to fear because I've already planned this out and this is a fail-safe plan and I'm going to be good.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, I live my life the complete opposite of that. The complete and utter opposite of that.
Which is probably why we get along.
That is why we get along. But meaning like I get the planning part of it because I used to coordinate weddings. So I understand the importance of a plan and sticking to it. I get all of that part.
Yeah.
But in life in general, like, I don't know, my mom would tell you that I ran out of her womb. And I was just like, go, 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 go. And I didn't hesitate doing a lot of things.
Yeah.
But having no fear is different than having insecurities.
Yes.
Those are two different things.
I like that.
Because I might not be very fearless with some things, but I was very insecure about a lot of things with myself. They were very different. Very different things.
How do we balance that? The fear and the insecurity?
The insecurity part for me had a lot to do with my own like self-esteem. Like I lacked self-esteem.
Okay.
From a very young age.
Mm-hmm.
And then not until I started learning about self-efficacy that I was like, well, you know, let me learn more about myself or embrace the things about myself.
Yeah.
And not be afraid. So once I started to get myself together, then the things that I really feared, okay, because I say I'm not afraid of a lot of things, right?
Right.
And I'm not. I'll dive into a lot of things, but the really important things, like love, for instance, or affection or things like that, hell no. Like, I don't hesitate. Yeah. Those are things you shouldn't hesitate with, so to speak, but it takes building on your insecurities to get to that point of loving freely with no fear so that you can experience those things.
Do you think that you can convince somebody to be less fearful or to just live a little more spontaneously? Or just
yes and no. Yes and no. Like, Lanier and I were actually having a conversation about this because my dad took us to go eat at this spot in the middle of, wine country. And you would never think it's not like an outstanding physical place, right? So it's just a cute little nook.
Yeah.
But the food was outstanding.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It was so good. Like I was like in tears, like eating. It was just good. But so he and I were talking. He goes, how does your dad find these places?
Yeah.
Or how does, I wouldn't be able to do that. And I was like, you would. I said, because yes, my dad found this place. And yes, it was great and it was delicious. But guess what? It took exploring 2 other places that were terrible, that were not good, to find your little hidden gems.
Yeah.
But you have to be willing to go out there
and explore
and try. And where I hesitate doing that is because I want to make sure I have a good time.
Yeah.
So we're used to, let me Yelp this. Let me read about this. Let me make sure I'm about to go into a really good experience.
There's that planning.
And
expectation.
And then being controlling.
Yes.
We have to control everything.
Right.
Instead of can you just go? And if it's a bad time and a bad food, then you learned you're not going to go there again.
Right. And
period.
then you
That's
leave
it.
and you
but
talk
we
about it.
hesitate doing that.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't have no idea. Our expectation.
Right.
Our need to control. Our need to want to have a good time. When even how you're saying, it could be bad food and the service could suck, but I mean, we can still have great conversation.
Absolutely.
We can still have a good time just sitting there and enjoying each other's company.
And don't get me wrong, the food was great. The breeze was nice. We were there with, my family and stuff like that. The music was terrible. I've walked out of places because the music is bad.
Oh my gosh.
I
believe that.
Yeah, of course. So in my mind, I'm like, oh God, no, please.
Yeah.
Please. Not another song from the Bodyguard soundtrack, which I love the Bodyguard soundtrack. Whitney Houston, has the I Will Always Love You song, but I was like, I can't do
It's
this
just not
right
the
now.
vibe that you wanted.
Not while I'm eating steak. No. But so all of those things, but that's okay because, you also can't expect perfection every single time. Just accept what you have in front of you and enjoy it and embrace it.
Make the most of it.
Yeah, exactly.
I like it.
That's it.
And so there's another one. His second human challenge that he talks about is I want it now.
Oof.
Wanting instant gratification.
So that's the one that spoke to me the most.
Me too.
Because, like, big time. Because I felt a lot of pressure, like, in having this creative space. Yeah. That it was like, hurry up. We need to find a way to monetize this because we all want to quit our jobs. Like, we want to come and do this. Like, let's go, let's go, let's go.
Yeah.
But in reality, it's like, first of all, we are all actually doing what we like to do.
Yeah.
The fact that we get that opportunity alone is a blessing.
Yeah.
That it's like we're not even living in and we're not even appreciating because the only thing we're thinking about is how quickly can we get out of where we're at.
Yeah.
And the only people holding ourselves back from that is us. Mm-hmm. But there's that fear. Mm-hmm. Well, how am I going to feed my kids though?
Yeah.
How am I going to find a place to live?
Right.
How am I going to do these?
Which then puts the pressure on of like, I want it
Hell
now.
Yeah.
What are the results? Where are we? What do we say? What is the ROI? And I need this tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm big on that, and I have a hard time with accepting that or not humbling myself. Like that's where I think I've been. I don't know what the fuck happened in my childhood where maybe I was given everything that I wanted my whole life. And so even my own expectation of my needs and my wants, I've always figured out a way to give it to myself immediately or having these timelines and making them be pretty instant. And so when it's saying like I want it now, I laugh at like my past experiences or just the shit that I've done, and I'm like, fuck Natalie, like just sit the fuck down.
Right. Just relax a little bit.
Yeah. What are you so in a hurry for? What do you need all of this stuff or whatever it is that I'm looking to getting now? For what? Because now once we get the thing,
then what? Then it's just gonna be about the next thing and
right.
the next thing, and then it never freaking ends.
Exactly.
You're in a consistent state of that.
Yeah.
And that's the opposite of what I want. Like I just want peace.
Yeah.
Like I want to be happy that I can pay my bills, I can feed my kids, and I can do what I like to do. And
yeah.
That's it. But there's such a demand for that we put on ourselves.
Yeah.
We just gotta navigate through that.
And it doesn't help that with just the way that we navigate and live our lives. Everything is instant, social media is instant. Advertisements are instant. Amazon is instant.
It's immediate. But I think about, and I go back to the interview that my mom gave when we brought her into the studio, and she says, you know what, this has been a long time coming. So yes, like collaboratively, it's all of our first time working together.
Right.
But everybody has X amount of years behind them that have built up and led us to this point. And I think that's where the anxiousness comes from.
Yeah.
Is that, all right, cool. Like here I am coming with all of these years of experience and of attempts to get to a certain place. Right. And now you have everybody else's anxiousness too, because here they come with their load of experience and determination. So now you have this ball of anxious, like, let's go.
Yeah.
Rightfully so.
Right.
Rightfully so.
We're ready.
Because we're ready. but now it's putting the time in collectively as a group.
Right. How
to get to that next level, learn how to work together while battling not having to hurry up and rush us because we want to get it right now.
Yeah.
That's tough.
And the saying is, the saying is true. Eventually, we're going to become overnight successes. Mm-hmm. But that overnight took a couple years.
Oh, hell yeah.
And
way longer than that for a lot of us.
For sure.
A lot of us. That's why it's like, and think about it. It's I think it was Big Brother Jake who told me, like, it's usually when you're going through your darkest moments that it's like right around the corner. Yeah. And you can't even see it coming because you're just in your feels about the whole thing. So
right. And then once you get it, you're like, oh, well, okay, well, that wasn't that bad.
And you hear stories all the time. Like I remember hearing the story of Lizzo where she had like $2 in her bank account, like couldn't even feed herself, and then plat, like here we go.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
But so it's like trust, like shit. All right, if we got it, we got it. Just sit back and keep doing what you're doing and focus on that. Period.
Yep.
Shut up and go.
Yep. Just be determined, stay humble, be consistent, and
isn't that a Kendrick song?
That's why it starts with the fear part first. Because you have to move fearlessly. You have to move without fear to keep going.
Damn it,
Dawn. She should know she has her wine.
It's called Fearlessly. Wait, is that why you called it that, Dawn?
Yeah, because a lot of this is moving and just moving, not aware of what's going to happen and letting go of trying to figure out it. Because, I have a huge problem with having to know what the hell is going to happen.
Yeah.
I need to see the end. And it's bad when you're like that. So, it had to start. You had to just start taking steps and just don't worry about it. And then you're missing out when you're trying to get to the end. You're missing it. You're missing everything that you're already in because you're so worried about getting to the end of it. It's like, hey, you're doing something, dude. Wake up.
You have to trust the process.
Exactly.
And enjoy it.
But
enjoy the process. And I think that just concludes everything that we've said about this. It's, we're so in a rush to get here, and then we get to that point and we're not even, it's like the movie Soul.
Oh God, I love that movie.
He gets to this point where he found out his passion and his dreams are coming true. He does the passion thing, and then he doesn't feel anything because he was so in a hurry and he didn't even reflect about. Yeah, he completely missed it.
And that's what happens
why
when you're
crying.
I cried
crying.
I only watched that movie twice, like intentionally, and I did cry like a child because that spoke to me on so many levels.
Absolutely, it's
and because it all comes down to love again.
Yes,
love it. My brother used to say that all the time when he would tell people what we're doing. It's all about love, and I'm like,
yeah.
It sounds so weird coming out your mouth,
but it's
true. And Dawn and I had a conversation about all the love that circulated around here.
Mm-hmm.
And if we just looked at each other more like that, then you would win more.
For sure. But then comes blame and victimization. So we're constantly like, you did this to me. It's because of you that we're not here. Why are you holding me back? Why do you want this? La 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 la. And
I blame my job all the time. I'm like, damn it, it's because I need that job. I haven't let go.
We're always blaming our circumstances, the people around us, our situations, our environment, our mothers, our fathers. If
only I had this. When I have this, then I can do that. That's what that, and he talks a lot about that in the book about that. Mm-hmm. Like if you live in that constant state of if only, and when I have this, then I'll do this.
Right.
That's a big L.
Yeah. No, we need to move out of that. We all have to be responsible for ourselves and the way that we speak of other people and be just, damn it, and, going with love or speaking of love, it also comes just being grateful. You have to be grateful. It's not just, it's my environment. If only I had this, if only I have that. Well, look at everything that you already have.
So, speaking of being grateful, we were stuck in the line driving over here, right? And I'm like, oh my God. And this is why I think that drive was a reality check for me as well.
Yeah.
Like there was a lot of humility involved with that too. Because I'm looking at this husband and wife on the border crossing with their toddler selling whatever they have. Like they were selling like aprons and then with like the tortilla warmers.
Oh yeah.
With the little toddler who was like, I just want to go and play. Like I just want to go and see. I'm
them.
like, they left a country with whatever they had in their pocket to try to come to another country, to try to save up some money to go to another country to just get a shot.
Yep.
And I'm over here complaining about what I don't have right now and why do I still have this job?
Yeah.
Like, what is wrong with me?
Right. Our situation can always be worse.
But there's always, like, I know that if I told my middle child this, she'd be like, how did she tell me? Like,
don't gaslight me or...
No, yeah, like, it doesn't mean that my feelings still aren't valid. Like, just because somebody has it worse than you doesn't mean that yours... And it's not that. It's just like...
It's the truth. there are kids starving. There's a whole other world that doesn't even have the internet or access to this podcast or even know what a podcast is or even have like what's that documentary that was really good about Bill Gates, the Bill Gates documentary, and he just talks about the toilet system or the lack thereof. It's crazy. So we definitely, at least everyone that is listening to this podcast, let's just be mindful and grateful. Yeah, because that's already a plus that we're able to even listen to something from wherever in the world.
Right. And that's why late at night, like no matter what, every single night I come in here, it doesn't matter what, and anytime I get in my feelings about what has or hasn't happened, like I just come in here and I just look around.
Yeah.
And I look around and just see all the tangible things that we can touch and be like, this doesn't, didn't just happen on its own. And be grateful for it, that you have a space to do what you love to do.
For sure.
Like that's it. Every day, every single day.
We're not starving.
No, we're not.
We're not, we have clothes on our back.
We have dogs with toys.
Yes. And I didn't say no. We're not going to get into that. The other thing is hopelessness. Feeling undeserving, feeling like I can't, and there's no other way to convince me otherwise. I can't. And that sucks because we won't even try things because we're already in our head about it.
There's a movie called Love Jones, and there's a song called Hopeless on that soundtrack, which is one of my favorite songs. They say I'm hopeless. Like a penny with a hole in it, okay?
Yeah.
And I feel that sometimes, well, with a specific area in my life, I'm like, this shit's not going to work. Like, this is hopeless. Like, this is not going to happen for me.
Right.
And I do, like, that's one of the, what is it? That's one of the 9.
Yeah. Hopelessness is one of the 9 human challenges. Feeling that we don't deserve it, or just, I can't. I straight up, I can't.
Okay, so this goes twofold for me. So I have that hopelessness part with the love sector of my life, right?
Okay.
Which is that hopeless, like straight up, like. But the other part of it, the undeserving part of it, which is strange now that I'm thinking about it, is that there are days where I wake up in the morning, and I've told you, and recently I've told Dawn after we had her birthday party here, is that I'll wake up in the morning and I will feel so much joy and so much love in my heart. Like it's so overwhelming and happiness and just like, I'm so lucky. Like this is my life.
Good. But
like, and I'll talk to God. Like, why would you give me this? Like, I don't get it. I complain all the time and I'm like, oh, weenie about things.
That's the undeserving part.
Why would you give me all of these wonderful emotions? Like, why would you give this to me? Because sometimes I feel abnormal. That a lot of people don't feel the sensitivities that I feel, the abundance. Like, sometimes I feel like my heart is going to explode with so much. Like, that's you get how absurd that almost sounds? Yeah. That if you work 18 hours a day and you work 7 days a week and your life's crazy, but you're filled with this just enormous. That's crazy. Yeah. And so I'm like, God, like, what am I supposed to do with this?
Yeah.
Why are you making me feel like this?
Yeah.
I've never felt this before. What am I supposed to do with it?
Right.
I'm undeserving. Like I've not been the greatest person in the world. I've let you down so much. Why would you give me this blessing?
Yeah.
I ask that all the time. Like literally sometimes waiting for him to be like, well, let me tell you why.
I see.
Yeah, because I'm like, I'm undeserving of this. Like I'm just a regular person. Why are you giving me this so much love? And then I answer myself and I just tell myself, Ricky, you just got to redistribute that back out to everybody around you so that it continues to reciprocate and duplicate.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's fair.
Like you're still supposed to keep some of that for yourself, though.
I can't.
Have to.
Well, the next thing that goes along with it is lack of life balance. And what Dawn said is keeping a little bit of that to yourself.
Yeah.
Recognizing and knowing that Well, first of all, you do deserve this, right? Or you
Thank
deserve everything
you.
that you deserve everything that you're working towards, and everything that has happened in your past has been for all of these moments. Yeah, absolutely. And maybe this is a question to you. Are we now in this, like, I have all of these opportunities or this space? You can't reject yourself now. You can't sacrifice all of you for this space, because you are still an individual person, and this space is a whole other thing, right? I don't know where I'm going with this, but I don't know if you're following.
Have you ever had a relationship with a Cancer? Because that's what
right
Cancer,
here.
Exactly. And that's why you're telling me that too, because Cancers go hard. We go hard on the paint. Like, there's no holding back.
Yeah.
To the point where, like, you don't look at yourself because you're looking out for everybody else. Like, that's how it operates, and that's how it works. But you're right, which goes back to preserving love for yourself and making sure that you're taken care of. I had a very interesting conversation this morning with my dad about Anthony Bourdain and when he committed suicide and how he felt very lonely, right? And I was telling him, I'm like, I get that, but almost I'm preparing myself to live a life to be alone, right? Like, my mom didn't remarry. My mom stayed by herself.
Yeah.
And not that I would want her to be, but I would rather not get hurt. I'd rather preserve that part of it than to explore, doing that part of it. You get what I'm saying, though? And that's where the hopelessness part of the human trafficking thing is.
No, it's not human trafficking. It's funny that you say that, though, because I have a presentation at work about human trafficking. Yeah, it's
you need me to overlook it?
Okay. Yeah. What were we talking about?
What is the one thing, the topic we were on?
Lack of life balance.
So lack of life balance. So it's a perfect excuse for me to say, I can't do love right now. Look at everything I'm doing with my life right now. I don't need balance.
Yeah.
I've got this. And this is fulfilling me on every avenue I could possibly think of. Right. And by the way, I'm also preparing to live a life alone. And so this balances me out perfect. I don't need love. I'm good.
Right. But it's not a balance. It's a sacrifice. You've sacrificed that part of your life for this, which isn't a bad thing, right? I feel that when we look at successful people, they've definitely sacrificed their personal lives, their romantic relationships, their kids, their families, or what have you. And I still think, though, that you Ricky Lee, can find a person to share your life with.
Balance.
You just
facts?
gotta.
Is that what you said?
Balance and facts, yes, and you just gotta be open to it, I guess. That's gonna be.
I'm gonna struggle with that one.
Yeah, I know, and that's a whole other podcast. I feel like we've had this conversation. We had this conversation a year ago.
We did.
And probably around this time or even before. We had a whole discussion about love and feeling deserving. And anyway, we'll talk about that later. The next thing is, what's in it for me?
I haven't thought about that.
I struggle with this. I don't struggle with this, but it made me laugh because Mike and I have had conversations, and he'll be like, oh, this, and that is happening, and then we're going to do this, and then we're going to do that, and blah, 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 blah. And then I'll tell him, so what does that mean for me?
How do I win in this part?
Where's
the benefit to this?
Where's the benefit? Yeah. And we can't think so selfishly about that, about things, about life in general. There is no me agenda, because
he's big on that. The minute it's about me,
we've lost.
That's it.
Yeah.
Don't even bother.
Yeah.
And if that was the case for any, like, any of us in this group, oof,
we would have been done a long time ago.
Long time ago.
And yeah, you guys have to read this book, but he does take a deep dive into into dependence and independence and intradependent. He has all of this lingo about me versus we, and like you said, I think about all of us in Rose City Sound, and this is definitely not a me agenda. This is we, and we for sure rely on each other to learn, heavily, to bounce ideas off of each other,
and to make ourselves better people.
Yeah,
be a nice human.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yep.
Like that's a big foundation and principle of the scene. Just don't be a dick.
Yep.
Just be a nice person.
That's the last thing that we want, because at the end of it, we're all doing this because this is our opportunity. And you know, we work all day and we come here to just release and enjoy,
yes,
and get into our craft and love that somebody else is into their craft, and it's beautiful, and that is love, how we're saying. And none of it is we or me involved.
Right.
This couldn't be done even right here recording this podcast. This takes your effort, my effort,
Dawn's,
the voice of God,
yes,
Bartley, everyone. Every single one person in here is contributing.
Yeah.
So
that's why it drives me crazy when people are like, "Oh my God, you guys are having so much fun. It's so much fun." Yeah. Yes, it's right.
It's fun, but it is hard work.
It's a lot of shit before and after.
And also in the we factor, it takes a lot of grace and compassion and patience. Yes. Because when you're working with one person, in our case 12, 13, 14 people,
yep,
we're all so different in our personalities,
very much
in our
so.
attitude, the way that we work, our the way that we do things. We have to be patient and understand that we all work differently, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And the end game is still love, like Michael Mora said.
I was like, I hope to God she says love, and you did. She did.
The next one, which was I highlighted and put a little star next to it, was the hunger to be understood.
Oof.
This is, I feel that I am highly successful in this. And again, like, this comes in waves, right? We'll have our highs and our lows when we're better at it than other times. But this is the part of the human challenge that I least need assistance in.
So this is your strong, like, you've mastered this one.
The hunger to be understood. It talks about how human beings, we listen to respond instead of listening to understand.
Correct.
And a lot of the times, and our day-to-day conversations at work with our parents, with our family, whatever, it is that we talk and then all of a sudden we want a response. But sometimes I just want you to just listen to me. I don't need you to respond. I just want you to hear me out, because maybe I'm trying to vent. I don't need a solution. It was how you were saying earlier, like, well, maybe my feelings, and I know that you're telling me this, but that's not my case. I just want you to listen to me.
So for the record, some of our earliest conversations, I remember I would dump a lot on you, and then I would be like, she's not saying anything in between my rambling. So it would trip me out that you wouldn't interrupt.
Yeah.
Or that you wouldn't be like, oh, yeah, You would just listen.
Yeah.
And I was like, but is she listening? And then a long pause would come after I was done talking. And I'm like, oh man, I lost her. But then no, you just you thought about everything that I said. You listened, and then you gave me like a thorough, comprehensive response to what I was saying based on your own understanding of what I expressed.
Yeah, and that's important to, when you're talking to a person, is listen to their frustrations. What is it that is really frustrating them? Are they asking for advice are they just venting?
Right.
Do they need a solution to a problem?
I agree that that's your best one.
Thank you.
What number is that?
That's number 7.
Okay.
7. So listen to understand. And that's all anybody wants. We just want to be understood. We just want somebody to listen to us. And for me, because I'm such a why person now, I take all of those conversations and I'm curious, like, how did you grow up?
You are naturally curious. I love that about you.
And then I think that for people out there, that ends up becoming important in building and keeping relationships.
Yeah, no doubt.
So
you mastered that one. That was 7?
No, 7.
What's 8? Because now I want to know which one I mastered.
Conflict and differences. In, like, for example, the current state now. Oh, you're a Republican. Oh, you're a Democrat. I don't know. I can't relate. You and I cannot bond or settle our differences or work on a project because I'm blue and you're red. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I don't really have much to say about that other than, well, maybe, I guess what we could say, or where could we go with this?
Your adaptability, basically, like with people that are absurdly different than you.
Yeah.
That acceptance.
Acceptance. Yeah, because if you just accept people for who they are and you're not trying to control or change them, then you have no problem.
And that makes it easier for the other party as well. Like, okay.
That makes it feel part for everybody, yeah.
Settle your differences, guys. It's just, if you like eggs and the other person doesn't, that's okay.
Settle or accept your differences.
Mm-hmm.
True story. Mm-hmm.
Skillet versus microwave.
Well, okay, yeah. There's the ultimate. There's the ultimate.
Yes. Do we want to microwave our bacon or put it on the...
Or do we want to just accept that both are applicable and necessary at times?
Okay, I'm not accepting.
Hey, that was great. That was great.
And the last one is personal stagnation.
Okay.
And
I think I might have mastered being personally stagnant. Not recently, but
procrastinating.
Oh my God, yes.
That's what it is.
I waited a year to go and renew my driver's license. I procrastinated like you have. Why?
Yeah.
No reason. I just didn't want to deal with myself. I didn't want to deal with having to go and do this.
Yeah.
A year and change. And I lost my passport after I did that.
Getting this podcast was a procrastination.
Yeah, I don't look at it that way. Well, I mean, I can see why you look at it that way, but I look at it as like the time that it took us to get here. We developed a lot of things. We learned a lot of things. Yeah. We mastered a lot of things.
It came when it needed to come.
Yes.
It came at the right time.
It came at the right time.
Take that out.
But I get why you said that.
You know what I mean? But it is, I guess, well, to dive into it a little bit, it's a little bit of pivoting and doing other things, or just putting it in the back burner.
It was both.
Purposely, or just maybe like
sometimes it was
avoiding it. Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it was intentional.
Yeah. So stop procrastinating. We just need to do.
So what are the? Can you do all 9 again? Just 1 through 9. What was the first one again?
So fear and insecurity.
Okay. Next one.
I want it now.
Okay.
Blame and victimization.
Okay.
Hopelessness. Lack of life balance. What's in it for me? The hunger to be understood. Conflict and differences. And personal stagnation.
And then the one that you said you mastered was the
hunger to be understood.
Because you're good at understanding people.
Mm-hmm. And where I struggle is probably I want it now. Okay.
I would probably say that the fear and insecurity one I'm pretty good at. Okay. Meaning like fears, I'm good with the, well, no, I don't know. I don't know what I've closely mastered. None of those. I need to work on all of those.
It's okay. And we all, and like, again, I think that these all come in waves and at our low points.
True story.
At different times in our lives, and we just work on them. And the next thing to complement that is going to be in our next episode, where we talk about the 7 habits of highly effective people.
I'm excited about that one.
I like that one too. There's a whole PDF, guys. So just in
so
case,
helpful.
you know, by the time that you've listened to this episode, you can be prepared with your own notes and having read.
I did all the homework. We should read our answers.
Yeah, we'll compare. We'll talk about it. Cool.
Very
Well,
beneficial.
yeah. So I think that this concludes our show. Do we have anything in the chat going on?
There's the chat's lit, and James has the hits.
Look at Twitch. Y'all are just thriving over there. We love you guys. You guys are perfect.
Tweet, tweet. Oh, no, that's Twitch.
Oh, no, Twitter.
Twitter, Twitch, they're both twas.
Mm-hmm.
They're both twas.
But, all right, cool. Then we're good.
Or Golden Grams.
I love it. Well, that was our show, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, we're on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. Write a review. Send us an email.
Send it to your homegirl that needs to hear this message, please.
Yes.
That's the biggest, most important thing.
Yes.
You know there's somebody who needs to hear this. Just share and care.
Ricky said it. Just share it. Give us some feedback. Follow us on Instagram. Let us know how you feel. Have a beautiful rest of your day, y'all. Increase the peace.
Monday.